Let's take now what they call in the TV business a closer look at Hillary Clinton's economic speech. She made it today at a factory in Warren, Michigan. Let's start with the parts where she seemed to go out of her way to empathize with working class voters and the daily struggles they face.
There is too much inequality, too little upward mobility. It is just too hard to get ahead today. But there are common sense things that your government could do that would give Americans more opportunities to succeed. Why don't we do it? Because powerful special interests and the tendency to put ideology ahead of political progress have led to gridlock in Congress. And how can you not be frustrated and even angry when you see nothing getting done? And a lot of people feel no one is on their side and no one has their back. And that is not how it's supposed to be in America. If I am fortunate enough to be your president, I will have your back every single day that I serve.
Donnie, that could have been Bernie Sanders. It could have been Donald Trump. Republicans are trying to paint her as out of touch. How'd she do today in coming across as someone who gets the struggles of working class people?
I think she's staying at 10,000 feet up. Once again, 101. You and I could have written that speech. There was nothing in there. And strangely enough, that's the good news for her. Because once again, every day that goes by, that there's nothing that kind of comes through in any way that's critical about her and shifts it back to Trump. I find it interesting. I would have moved her a little to the middle. I want to do it just a simple math here. Is that if you go on the premise that 70 to 80% of Bernie voters are going to go to Hillary at this point, let's say you start to say things that maybe even turn a few of them off. And I think if they leave her, they go to an independent. That's a net -1. But anything that she says that would draw a Republican in away from Trump, that's a net +2 because she gets one and Trump loses one. So I would have moved her a little bit more to the center, but I still think all in all it was a good day for her.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no doubt that she gets working class people better than her image and better than the Republicans say she does. I still think her biggest weakness as a candidate and my biggest worry if she got elected for uniting the country and moving an agenda is she just doesn't give off a sense, not just of understanding working class people, but having an integrated sense of how the economy can work in the current age. And I just think today was a big opportunity to do that. She didn't turn the speech fully, as she has in some past quote-unquote policy speeches, into just an attack on Trump. She made an effort to lay out her theory of the case on the economy, and I didn't come away any more understanding it than I think probably most people who would have listened to it or excerpts of it.
You're right. You said you said 2 words, risk averse, and I think that's the strategy, and she showed it today. Clinton's speech was primarily all about big, pretty standard Democratic spending programs that her left-leaning fans will love, but there was one part that seemed directly aimed at wooing more centrist voters. Let's take a look at that.
Here's something that you don't always hear enough of from Democrats. A big part of our plan will be unleashing the power of the private sector to create more jobs at higher pay. Right now, the smallest businesses, the kind that my dad had, because it was a really small business, spend 20 times more per employee to prepare their taxes compared to larger companies. It should be as easy as printing out a bank statement. Let's free entrepreneurs to do what they do best: innovate, grow, and hire.
Mark, is the safe place, if you want to go centrist but really, really not make the move, you use the words either small business or entrepreneurs, because that straddles both the ode to capitalism and business, but yet it's the little guy in the shoe shop. So in a strange way, that's the easiest way to kind of blanket and say, no, I'm somewhere in the middle.
Dennis Kucinich could have said that stuff. This is yet another indication of the fact that she's running as someone from the far left, doesn't feel, as you suggested before, she needs to take the center back in any serious way, doesn't feel she needs to take her own party on in any serious way. And while she's out there courting Republicans on both national security and domestic office holders, it's clear that on policy, she's very comfortable running center left and not doing anything, as her husband did, as Barack Obama did, to say to the party in a serious policy-oriented way, we need to make some changes.
I think the fact that Trump has gone very, very traditional Republican and has gone from 35 to 15 on the business tax, has done the estate tax, allows her to stay populist and doesn't have to move from there.
Yeah. All right, finally, let's look at one other piece of Clinton's speech, this one on trade policy. She continues to very clearly distance herself from President Obama and not to cede any ground on this issue to Donald J. Trump.
I will stop any trade deal that kills jobs or holds down wages, including the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I oppose it now, I'll oppose it after the election, and I'll oppose it as president.
So, Donnie, there are people in Michigan who care about free trade. There are people who'd like the TPP to pass, but it seems pretty obvious she is trying to convince everybody that this is her position and Trump's not going to get to the populist left of her on trade.
Yeah, that once again, you stop the average person on the street and ask them what TPP is, and they might think it's a new rap band or something, but everybody knows it's a bad word right now. And that takes away Trump's flank as far as, Trump, the anti-free trade guy. It's a set of words she puts out there. Obviously, we know the story. Originally, she was for it. Now she's against it. So once again, I'm going to repeat myself. She put the poo-poo platter out there. If I'm looking for somebody to be provocative, I'm looking for somebody to move the needle, I'm not seeing it. If I'm looking for someone to stay under the radar and let Trump self-destruct, that's what she did today.